It stopped recording. Now it's recording again, so
Oh, well, you were right on top of it.
I think we're
So
okay.
you see how we're learning how to use different ways of speaking?
Okay, I have a clarification question. So we've all gone through and we've all done the imperative, and we've said day 8 has said to the other days certain things.
Yeah.
And the solo, when does the lyric come in? When does the response in lyric? So we're moving.
Well,
from,
usually it's the next week.
Okay,
But
usually
here
it's
we're
the
doing
next.
two at the same time.
We're doing 2 at the same time, but that's not the solo. That's
just a response.
a response. Okay,
The solo
so
may be the distilled result of all the initiations and responses that you have given and heard from everybody. You see.
okay,
And then we're all trying to help everybody do the best solo they can, because God has given each of us part of the cosmos, hasn't He, Esther, to take control of. You're the mother of your children, for instance. You're the despot of the house. And He expects you to do things according to what the Bible tells us in law, lyric, evaluation, and fact kinds of words. In other words, the word is more than law. There's poems, there's
Right.
puns, there's historical stories, and etc. And this is all supposed to shape us into something that adorns the bride, which is the creation. You see.
okay. So I've got to ask a clarification. I have to go through this one more time. I ask, as day 8, I ask questions, and then the people who get the questions, or I give them an imperative actually, and the people get those questions and they write them down and they consider them,
Yeah.
and then they respond with
Two ways.
they respond 2 ways. And what are those 2
They
ways?
respond with, you have 3 or 4 minutes or whatever time
Okay.
you have to respond to your questions.
Okay,
And then from that you kind of distill something down into your solo.
okay,
Because the Bible, the story of Jesus, it could be written in so many books that would be greater than the universe, right?
right,
But we don't want that. God just gave us these particular parts
Right.
that are important. We're trying to be in the image of God. We're supposed to do something similar to that. Now, see, I'm prolix. I talk a lot, but that's because I'm in the initiation stage of it.
right.
When we get further along, we'll be able to say, like an old Lutheran pastor, he gets up there and just tells you what it is. Or an old Reformed pastor or something. They don't have to go on and on and on giving example after example and everything, because they have the voice, they have the tone. They know, and they've distilled it, they know their audience, and they know what they need, and they tell.
Right, okay.
That's what I'm looking at.
Okay. And I think I didn't catch, so you respond with 3 minutes of interaction with the
I'm listening to
yeah.
Don't worry, I lost a lot of it.
You respond with 3 minutes of interaction with the to the questions,
Or whatever time you have.
or whatever time you have,
Yeah.
and then you respond with the distillation. And where does lyric come in? Is that where
you're
lyric?
responding in lyric.
You're responding in lyric. So if you could go home, you could go home and come back, and that's where doing this in 8 weeks would work.
Yeah, and
better.
lyric,
You could go home and respond.
you see, lyric can also be something from these books here that Aaron has put down
Okay.
that applies to the total situation. Just to give you an example, there's a tremendous science fiction book, The Rain But Piers Anthony. And I don't think it's such a great book, but he had this wonderful vignette in it, and there was a man who had lost his memory. But he knew all the works of Wordsworth, so that whenever something came to him, he would reply in some quotation from Wordsworth, and he had to have an interpreter. They would say, what he means is this. But see,
Okay.
we're trying to do that in a small way here.
Okay.
In
All
other
right.
words, we've got all this stuff, and we have to reply in lyric in the words of lion-type books of the Bible.
Okay.
That's an example.
All right. And Sarah, let's take a picture of that.
Oh, okay.
We could get this on.
We have that, but It's
Thank
easy
you,
to
sir.
upload as a picture. Okay, so that's day one. We move to day, or that's
Week one.
session one,
Session
week one.
Session one is
Now we move to session two.
yeah, when you initiate in a different form, in a different order, of course, which I have right here in here.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've retuned the universe by our actions, that changes things. That's what happens in Through New Eyes. You live according to such and such a covenant, but it ends, and God brings another more beautiful covenant. Okay? And the second one is you lyric to everyone. That's why I call them initiation instead of questions.
Okay.
You lyric to everyone such that they will respond in evaluation.
Okay.
Then the third week, you evaluation to everyone such that they'll respond in law, lyric, in fact. Is it? And then your final solo is the new Torah, or the new instruction. Instruction is much better than law in many ways, because instruction is building in. Now, we have taken the heart and we've changed it to a better heart at the end. You're more able to administer that part of creation that God has given you as a calling. You see.
Okay. Run that by me again. I was distracted by the taking of photos. So the which I ordered. So in the fourth session,
Yeah.
I think I missed what we're doing in the fourth session.
Okay. First session, law to lyric.
Okay. First session.
Second
lyric.
session, lyric to evaluation.
Yep.
Third session, evaluation to fact.
Okay.
Fourth session, fact to new law or new instruction.
And in the fourth session, hopefully, then we have an aha where the question and the heart that we started out with. Now we have a new mandate to do something. So for
Yeah.
Esther's question, which is how to be mother to adults, going through this process, looking at it in the different ways, at the end of the process she can say, oh, well, at least one thing I know now about being mother to adults is this thing.
Yeah. And you see, this is the way God has written the Bible. Plain. This is the way that God has things change, by going through these covenantal process. So, I think we pretty well got it figured out.
Okay.
And I really, Sarah, thank you very much. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Dora. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Barty,
Thank
for
you.
knocking things off.
Thank you, Aurora. And this is kind of like, people have said, Tim Galeazzi has said, for instance, says, well, people come into our church and we have more liturgy than they're used to, more formalities and more this and that. And he says they just don't understand it. But if you just go ahead and do if you do it, then you'll get it, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why God gives us commands first. We're not mature enough to make decisions. And then later on he gives us kings make decisions as to who lives and who dies. Because the first task that Solomon was given, he had to write out all the Torah in hand. But the first task he was given was the 2 harlots and the 1 baby. And there's nothing in the Torah about that. Mm-hmm. He had to be shaped by comparing cases to cases somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on they have to go out of the land, for heaven's sakes. The whole idea of everything was that they would have a land. Then they had to get kicked out into the land. Why is God doing this to us? We have to evaluate, you see. We have to listen to the prophets. And he's doing it because it's for more glory. But there is a whole series of deaths there. You die to the Torah. You die to the lion part of the Bible, but keeping it with you.
Mm-hmm.
You die to the prophecy part, and here comes Jesus, and he dies. You see, all kinds of death and resurrection, which goes all the way back to creation out of nothing. That is the key. And that's why repentance is so important, because you become as nothing, and then God can work with you. But if you hold on to like Pastor was explaining about Mary, don't touch me, he said, and Pastor said that really means don't cling to me. I'm not going to stay here. You see, I've got places to go. You know, we can't just stay here